Welcome to the commentary booth where we watch and you guessed it, commentate on the week that was in movies and TV. Well, normally. This week we are here to look back on the year that was as we hand out some awards to the best and worst of 2024. Welcome back to the show, Corrina Mabey.
Hello. What's up? What's up? Whoop, whoop.
Not too much, just wrapping things up for the year finally, and it's looking back on the best and worst. It's always a fun episode.
Yes, because there were so many misses and a few hits, but there was a lot of misses this year. Like, this was a pretty shit year for shit.
I think if you dig into the year, there was some really awesome stuff, but there was also a lot of like mid-tier stuff.
Yeah, and the stuff that was bad was like really bad. Yeah, it was
the real bad stuff was pretty obvious.
Yeah, it wasn't just like it was all right, but it could have been a lot better. It was like, no, that was really fucking shit. Like, how did that happen?
Yep, especially in a year when things like Batgirl are just getting scrapped and tossed in the bin despite being finished.
Yeah,
some of the stuff that came out was like, wait, that's the one you kept?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that were kind of just like head scratchers as to what were they thinking when they released this, and is this the best that you could have done kind of moments.
Mm-hmm. But like we did our draft last week, hopefully when this comes out, I think the draft will come out next week. So there will be hopefully some cool stuff coming in 2025.
Yeah, maybe 2025 is the year. Maybe it's like the comeback year for things. Like, I don't know. I always say that every year. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a comeback year. Things are going to get so much better. Like, everything is finally recovered from COVID shenanigans. And then you see some things and you're like, never mind. They still think we're in COVID.
Yeah, I think next year will probably be the year that we're good because we're far enough removed from COVID. So a lot of the stuff that's coming out now hasn't had their filming hampered by restrictions.
Right.
And we're just far enough away from the writer's strike so that none of that issue should be lingering anymore. We should be into all clear, charted, hopefully great stuff next year.
Yep.
But before we get to the great stuff of 2025, let's look back on the ultimate trash fire and highlight some of the worst movies and TV shows of 2024. We put out the poll earlier this month, and it was a pretty decisive winner. Up until last night when we got 2 last-minute votes, it was even more decisive, but it's worst movie of the year as voted by commentary booth listeners, Madame Web, with 57.1% of the vote. Like I said, up until last night, it was at like 80-something%. So it got pulled back in to being somewhat of a fair fight. But coming in number 2 was The Office Australia with 42.9% of the vote. So there was really, according to our listeners, only 2 things that sucked.
Yeah. Yeah, Madam Web was fucking god-awful. There were so many things wrong with that movie. Like, that's one of those movies where we have to look and say, like, I can't believe that actually made it into the final cut, such as the terrible voiceover shenanigans for starters.
Yeah.
That was like
the dubbing on the bad guy is real bad.
Oh, it's when his mouth moves and like the voice is not moving in sync with his mouth. I was like, how did that happen? And I was watching it on Netflix. I didn't even go to the movies and see it. If I had paid to see that and that happened, I would have been pissed as fuck.
I don't know what happened there, whether the actor couldn't speak English or they like did significant rewrites and changed a bunch of the dialogue, but it was terrible.
Yeah. It's fucking awful. And no offense, Dakota Johnson's not my favorite person in the world. She's very stiff on TV. She's not anything memorable for that.
Also, one of my favorite scenes of her in this movie, it's not a lot, but there is one that's notable just because it's hilarious. She arrives to Ben Parker's barbecue that they're having. He gives her a Pepsi, and she walks around with this Pepsi for about 10 minutes and never opens it or has a sip. Every time she goes to like crack it open, somebody talks to her and she stops, and then it just like just goes on and on. You're like, okay, are you gonna actually open this drink and drink it? But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if it was a real can or not. But yeah, she never opens this can of Pepsi.
I think what made this that movie even worse is that like when they were promoting that movie, she was terrible for promoting it. Like she
She
had zero
basically came out and said it
enthusiasm.
was shit.
Yeah, she had zero enthusiasm and pretty much was like, I'd never do a superhero movie again. Because it just wasn't good. Kind of moment.
Yeah.
Like, that's so bad for a film. So, like, not only do you have a pretty shit movie riding out there, but then you have the lead of your film not even excited about your own movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty bad.
And I've heard The Office Australia is atrocious as well. I have not pulled myself to watch it. I'm not a huge Office fan anyway, so I haven't checked that out.
I didn't know that's the thing.
Yeah, they did an Office Australia.
Oh.
I watched the trailer and went, nope, not keen on watching that. A couple of the other notables that we had as nominees, Joker, Folie et Deux. I can see why this didn't win. Like, it was an interesting movie. But if you're a fan of the original Joker,
No.
that's why I hated it so much, because it basically just spits in the face of anyone that watched that first one.
I haven't seen the new one, like the second one, to pass judgment on it, but I know it is vastly different than the first one. So I'm just going to go into it not thinking it is like a sequel and more like it's its own movie, and maybe that'll save it for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think if you go into it with that perspective, it probably won't be so bad. But when you go into it being like, I love the first one.
Yeah.
No, what the hell. We also had Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
That wasn't terrible.
Yeah, it was one of those ones that was just like, whatever. It was a movie.
It was, yeah, I mean, it was like a one of those fun movies, I guess. I don't know. I only watched it because it was part of Horror Nights this year, and I had never seen it previously. So I was like, to get a better understanding of the house, I kind of have to watch it, or at least that's my mentality. So,
yeah. Afterlife was definitely better.
Yeah, Afterlife was fun. Frozen Empire was like, okay. I watch it for the mini Stay Puffs at this point. They're cute.
We also had Borderlands. It's so bad I never finished it. I got about 20 minutes in and went, I'm going to bed.
I haven't attempted to watch it yet, but I did that with Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and that's like one of those weird movies that everybody's obsessed with. I turned it on for 15 minutes and I was like, I don't know what I put on, but I'm not finishing this. And I never do that.
Yeah, so Borderlands just came onto Prime Video. I was like, hey, I'll check it out. See how bad this is. And it was like 20 minutes in, I was like, I'm just going to go to bed. I'm tired.
Oh.
And I can't pull myself to go back and finish it. So
it's like, maybe I'll get bored and watch it for us. It'll be fine. I'll take that sacrifice for you.
Also, Rebel Moon made my list of stinkers for the year. It's Star Wars, but not Star Wars. And it's 2.5 hours that could have been an hour because it's 90% of the movies in goddamn slow-mo.
Oh, yeah, that's not good.
That's Zack Snyder for you. He's like, oh, cool, this will be like epic. We'll slow it down and put in super slow-mo. He's like, not everything has to be in slow-mo, Zach.
For him, it does, though.
Yeah, so that was not good. And it only got worse. Like, part 2 was even worse than the first one.
Oh. Yeah.
The first one, I was kind of like, maybe this could be something. And then the second, I was like, what is going on?
I was going to watch it. And then you were like, it's not really that great. And then the second part came out and I was like, oh, maybe I'll watch it now because both parts are out. And you were like, still not really that great. You don't have to watch it. And I go, oh, but maybe it's not so bad. And you're like, yeah, no, you don't have to watch it. Don't worry. And so I've never actually attempted it.
Yeah, if you want to watch a Star Wars, just watch Star Wars.
Noted. Okay, so just one more off the list. Zack Snyder's not really doing so hot in my book. Like, I haven't come across a movie that I'm really like keen with about him. But I think it's just
I like the Suicide Squad Snyder cut. It didn't need to be like 5 hours long, but it was.
You mean Justice League?
With Justice League, yeah.
Two different movies, duh.
Yeah. The Snyder cut of Justice League was better than the OG cut of Justice League, but it still was like, it was a movie.
Yeah, and I'm not going to sit there for 5 hours and watch a fucking movie that I had a hard time getting through the first Justice League movie. I don't care about watching a recut version that's even fucking longer.
Mm-hmm. And then the next two, I think, made the list from your perspective. The Crow remake from 2024 this year, and The First Omen, the prequel to The Omen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have choice words about The Omen, but you know, you can go back and listen to that episode because I had a fucking field day with that movie. As a person who was so excited for that movie, I was not 100% happy with it. The Crow it was whatever. I think it got
Yeah.
shit on a lot harder than what it probably deserved, but that's just because of the following that, you know, and the whole lore with the whole franchise.
Yeah, as a standalone movie, I think it was fine. I think slapping the Crow name on it made it very touchy for a lot of people.
Yeah, you kind of signed yourself up for like failure at that point because there's such a high standard for that film, and it just raised the bar so high that when you put a movie's name on the line like that, and then you try to market it as, oh, it's not a remake, but it's not a reboot, but it's its own thing, but it's really not kind of thing. It gets messy.
Yeah, it needed to be like The Crow something, so it was like, oh, it's different.
Yeah, so they could set their expectations low, like with the other sequels that had come out prior to it.
Yep. And then the last three that made the list of nominees for the Ultimate Trash Fire were the Yakuza Like a Dragon show on Prime Video. I have heard is not amazing, so that's disappointing because I was actually super eager to check that out. And then when the reviews started rolling out, I was like, oh, okay, maybe that'll be a holiday watch when I'm struggling to find something else to watch.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought that was on like a list of things that we were supposed to watch, and then you never brought it back up again. So I was
I
like,
scrapped it. I scrapped that real fast.
yeah, I was like, oh, I guess that never came out. Like in my head, I was like, oh, maybe that never came out or something like that. But nope, clearly it came out and it was shit. So cool, didn't have to watch that
Yep.
and get tortured.
And then Marvel's Echo. I thought it was fine. It definitely, like, the wheels fell off towards the end, but it was solid up until the last sort of half of the season.
Yeah, I don't know. Echo was like I thought Echo was pretty okay for more like modern Marvel shows, I guess, just because there's been such shit ones come out. But then I watched Agatha All Along recently, and Agatha actually hit it out of the ballpark for me. I was really surprised by how much I enjoyed Agatha. So
Yeah, it shows the vast range of quality in Disney Marvel.
yeah, and I feel like maybe they're not putting, maybe it's just me like in conspiracy things, but maybe they're not putting as forth much effort into certain like franchises within Marvel. So like because Echo is somewhat tied to Daredevil, and Daredevil was never like, it was a Netflix series originally and then Disney took it over, maybe they're not as highly focused on like critiquing and fine tuning those ones as they are their own original ideas.
I think the key with Marvel these days is, like, they have, like, Marvel Studios, which is like the movies. I think they have one Marvel Television, which is going to be like the Daredevil and the Agatha All Alongs.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the Marvel Spotlight, which is like the Echoes and like the more street level B C tier characters.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the Spotlight series is going to just get eventually scrapped.
Yeah, hopefully, because yeah, like I said, Agatha nailed it for me for Marvel shows. Like I actually kind of almost like reinstilled faith into me with the shows because it was that good for me. I know some people weren't like a really big fan of it, but I thought it was fun and it held its own. So
It's got me hopeful for Daredevil. I'm very eager for that. I think that's going to be really high quality.
I hope Daredevil will be promising. I really do.
And the final show that I did not enjoy this year was I believe it's Ryan Murphy's Grotesquerie.
I didn't even watch it. I didn't even start watching it.
It just got so wacky and out there that I dropped off with like 3 episodes to go.
Yeah, but how familiar are you with Ryan Murphy? Because like I know I got you to watch the first season of American Horror Story, but that's
what I expected.
right?
And it was, yeah, and all like the monster series and stuff.
Yeah. But as far as his like weird shit, like his original like concept ideas, like those ones that first came out, like yeah.
It just got way out there. I was like, I'm done. I don't need to see the end of this.
I probably will actually go and watch it just because I fell in love with Ryan Murphy with his American Horror Story stuff. So like I've been following his shit for a long time, and I know what to expect now, just because the different seasons of American Horror Story very, very different, depending on the season. So some seasons are good and some seasons are shit. So yeah, maybe I'll throw that on over the holidays and see what happens.
So yeah, that's our ultimate trash fire. Madam Web, congratulations on being the most horrible thing this year.
Yeah, for at least it got recognition for something.
So our next award is the Crispy Couch Potato for the best streaming platform of 2024. The award for this one went to, not my choice, Disney Plus with 42.9% of the vote.
Did I vote for that one, or what did I vote for?
I believe you voted for that one.
I'm pretty sure I voted it for one reason.
For me, I didn't vote for this. I ended up voting for Binge because I found that the shows that are coming to Binge are pretty much all really high quality. Like we had Sweetpea, House of the Dragon, what else is in the top shows of the True Detective. So like the stuff that's coming to Binge has all been super high quality. The Penguin. Whereas Disney Plus I found was either amazing or horrid. There was no in-between stuff, really.
See, for me, it's hard because the shows that you get on Binge are on Max for me. So for me, like, Max is actually one of my top tiered streaming services. It's actually the only streaming service I really consider worth my money at this point, just because of it's got high thing. Like right now, like I'm attached to Dune Prophecy and I'm so excited that's theirs. But like it has the dragons on there. Yeah, Penguin was another one. So I get HBO Max as that for like, because that's Binge for you guys, I guess, at that point. But Disney Plus runs it for me just because of obvious reasons that I'll let you guess as to why it's in my top spot this year. There's only one reason that it's in my what? No, absolutely not. The Eras Tour is on Disney Plus. That's the only reason that
that's something I didn't put on the list. So the things I had on there that were like, okay, so Disney Plus won the award. This is the stuff you should go and check out. Agatha All Along. I thought The Acolyte was awesome.
Okay.
I've heard The English Teacher is quite good. Shogun is fantastic. X-Men 97, another awesome Marvel animated series following on from the X-Men animated series in 1997. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is on Disney Plus. Kinds of Kindness I've heard is really great too. Inside Out 2. Deadpool and Wolverine is a fun time. And they've also got some sort of silly trash reality shows with The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
And they have the Eras Tour, which is all that matters out of all this year, is that Disney got. That's why I told you Taylor Swift was going to save Disney Plus this year, and clearly she did, because obvious reasons. But
yeah, until she forced them to put the price up.
I mean, it's whatever. Small sacrifices. Small sacrifices. Do you know how many Swifties were just like, yeah, sure, whatever, take my fucking money. I can't afford a fucking $800 ticket to go see her live, but you're sure as shit welcome that I can spend almost $30 a month on Disney Plus to see her. I'm just saying. Yeah.
I will say Disney Plus does seem to have a high bar and high quality of content. There seems to be a lot of stuff coming. So there is like value for money in that sense. Like if you only had Disney Plus, you're not really going to run out of stuff to watch.
Yeah, they're releasing actually a new Elton John documentary, I think, in a couple days or something. My mom's really keen to see that. My mom has been like obsessed with Disney Plus just because she can see these different shows that they release. Like they have a couple different Elton John specials on there. They have actually quite a few.
They have like the Beatles 64. I've heard that movie is apparently quite good as well.
Yeah. So there's like a lot of good things. So yeah, for me, Disney Plus is on top, and then HBO Max. But because y'all don't have Max yet, we're putting that out there because it's coming. So yeah, I can see why Binge would be so high for you.
According to the votes, Netflix came in second at 28.6% of the vote. They're like quantity over quantity for me. There's a lot of stuff, some amazing, some really trash, and then a lot of mid-tier stuff. So they didn't get my vote. Prime Video at 14.3% of the vote. Solid choice. Like they had Fallout. They've had a couple of awesome movies, but for me, like, they haven't had enough, like, original stuff.
Yeah.
Fallout, The Boys, Invincible, they're, like, the main things I go to. I also
Mhm.
have Paramount Plus through Prime Video, so, like, I'm watching a lot of that with The Agency, Landman, and Lioness.
Yeah, and see, with us, like, I have Peacock over here, so, like, mom's been really keen on Peacock. I've been keen on Peacock just because they've been doing, like, a lot of stuff for spooky things with Blumhouse, um, so I'm happy about that, but HBO has the A24 contract, so I'm happier about that.
Mhm.
Like, once my free trial of Peacock runs out, I don't care about canceling it.
Yep. So then, yeah, and then Binge with 14.3% of the vote. I'm shocked Apple TV Plus didn't get more votes because, like, they're an underrated subscription service, I think. Like, they don't put out a lot of content,
Mhm.
but a vast majority of their content is fantastic. Like, Silo, Severance is about to come back.
Mhm.
Presumed Innocent was awesome. There's a couple of, like, really fun movies, like Fly Me to the Moon just dropped on Apple TV Plus, and I'm kind of keen to check that one out because that looks fun and silly. And also Crunchyroll and Paramount got nominated.
Crunchyroll is kind of like one of those niche things though. Like if you don't care about anime, it's not really going to be for you. I like the fact that Crunchyroll and whatchamacallit,
Funimation.
Funimation. Yes, I'm glad that they kind of merged together. Just because now the library is just so much bigger.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah, it made sense. Like, anime is already a very niche product. Why are we then splitting the fan bases?
yeah, yeah, exactly. But it is kind of strange though because still like there are certain animes that like they don't have because they're, other companies have it contracted. So it still kind of sucks that like if you're an anime fan, there's not like a one-stop shop for you to like go ahead and see everything that you want to see in one space still. Because there are those kinds that are like out there, just one or two here and there.
Yeah, it's the same with like Shudder. Like, I think if they could just get a little bit more traction in the horror space and get some of those like real big movies that are going to Netflix and Prime Video, like
Hmm.
the Thanksgivings, the Screams, Halloween's, like if they could get like those big top tier horror movies, I think they could be awesome because they got Inner Violent Nature,
Hmm.
but they needed just those couple of bigger ones. Like, they need the long legs, they need the strange darlings and stuff to go there, and then I think that would make them a viable option for a lot of people as well.
I think Shutter would be a perfect platform for Terrifier. I really do. Like if they could have gotten their hands on the Terrifier contract, they would have been set because Shutter, I had Shutter briefly. I did like a free trial and then I kept it for like a couple of months and it was cool and all, like especially being a horror fan, like I appreciate that there is an app that was supposed to be dedicated for that. But yeah, their range isn't as wide as it could be just because they are smaller. So I don't know what their like financials are to see if they could actually get further and bigger content. I mean, maybe they're just kind of stuck. I mean, some of their originals are cool, but then another like some of their originals aren't so great. But it is really cheap. It's like $5 a month, I think. So it's not like a
Yeah.
super big commitment.
Yeah, I think their problem is like they're stuck in those sort of B and C tier horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah.
they just can't like crack those big ones. Like, if they could get like I Know What You Did Last Summer that's coming soon, and the
Sure.
new Scream and stuff, like you just need like 2 or 3 of those a year,
Yeah.
and that gets people in the door, and then the rest of the stuff can flow on from there. Like, I didn't find their TV shows, like their horror series, that great when I had it, but the movies were pretty cool.
Yeah. Shutter's got a lot of potential in my eyes still. I just want them to
Mhm.
I want them to do better. I want them to get more popularity and get a little bit bigger out there.
Are you a trading card collector or a fan of Australian pro wrestling? If so, you're not going to want to miss out on the limited edition Australian wrestling cards. Each set includes 50 packs of 10 cards, including some of the country's top wrestling talents like Robbie Eagles, Shane Haste, Madison Eagles, Hartley Jackson, and they have Shaza McKenzie listed, although she is not a favorite. The velocities, and a lot more. There's wrestlers, referees, announcers, commentators that are featured, giving you a full appreciation of the Australian independent scene. The cards sold out a lot faster because cards are hot right now, as I'm sure Jeremy Lambert will tell you. But you can order your Australian wrestling cards now at Pario Magazine. That's PARIO magazine.com.au/AUS WRES Cards. Follow Australian Wrestling Cards on social media at AusResCards for updates. Join the hundreds of fans who have already discovered the excitement of Australian Wrestling Cards.
So now we're on to the top 2 awards for the year. The Golden Popcorns for the TV show of the year. Nominated were X-Men 97, Agatha All Along, Territory, Avatar The Last Airbender, the live action on Netflix, I thought was pretty solid. Masters of the Air, another Apple TV show that is super underrated. House of the Dragon Season 2, a good show, but a bit of a tease of a show.
Lackluster ending.
Yeah. The Penguin, fantastic. And Sweetpea is another one of those like very underrated shows that I think more people need to check out because they've just greenlit season 2. So definitely get on that.
I'm proud of me because I'm the one who asked you about it first. I was like, hey, what do you know about this show coming up? And you were like, nothing. And I was like, we should check it out. And you were like, maybe, let's see. And then you were just like, oh, this is really good. You're going to like this. Like, I patted myself on the back with that one because I was like, I haven't heard of this yet because it was a UK based show. So I only see things when they come across my screen on like a commercial or something. And I'm like, ooh, I wonder how that is. And it looked really cool. And I was just like, oh, it's the girl from Fallout. So,
but the ultimate winner for the Golden Popcorn TV show of the year, Presumed Innocent on Apple TV Plus, starring Jake Gyllenhaal, and then it's about he is like a high-profile district attorney who gets accused of killing his co-worker, who he's having an affair with, and it's all about the trial to go in there with like he's supposed to be presumed innocent, but kind of everyone is jumping to the conclusion, oh yeah, he did it. So it's all about like how he has to go and prove his innocence, and they have greenlit a season 2 of that, which is going to be a totally separate story. So it's going to be like an anthology series if it continues of these individual court drama series. Definitely worth getting at. If you're one of those people that just like jumps on Apple TV Plus and binges a bunch of stuff and then drops off, that's got to be high on your list.
Good. Yeah, that's what I do. Like, I canceled Apple TV Plus a while ago because there just wasn't a whole lot on there to keep me interested. But now that Silo season 2 is out, I'm waiting for it to finish up, and then I'm going to just subscribe for like a month and then watch like Silo, watch Presumed Innocent, see if there's anything else that I can catch up on, and then cancel it out again probably.
Yep. Yeah, I would suggest Silo, Presumed Innocent, Masters of the Air. It's World War II, so maybe not for you. But it's about the planes and the pilots and stuff, so it's not on the ground, hand-to-hand combat, so it's pretty interesting. And then obviously Severance is coming back shortly as well, so definitely stick around for that one. And then if you're a New England Patriots fan, one of the other ones that got 14.3% of the vote was the Dynasty New England Patriots documentary series, which was very, very good.
Oh boy.
But the other shows that, because this was a very hotly contested category. Up until last night, we had a 5-way tie. But we eventually got those extra 2 votes, which popped Presumed Innocent to the top. And then coming in tied for 4th to 6th, The Gentleman with 14.3%, True Detective Night Country, The Dynasty, Shogun, and Fallout all got 14.3% of the vote.
I liked Fallout a lot. The Gentleman I liked more than I thought I was going to.
Did you like the movie?
So I didn't watch the movie. I actually watched this show not knowing anything about the movie just because Theo James is like one of my favorite people to watch. Like, I don't know why, but he just has like a very weird way of drawing me into that movie. I don't know why. Like, he had a couple other movies out there and not just Divergent, but yeah, I liked it. And then when I started watching it, I was like, maybe this isn't for me. And then it got batshit crazy. Where like his brother dressed up like a fucking chicken and killed somebody. And I was like, never mind, this is definitely a me show. I need to finish this.
Yeah, it starts as this like super serious gangster flick, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, now we're just wacky and
Now your brother's like high as
craziness.
fuck and killing people with a shotgun dressed as a chicken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a fun show.
It was
And
ridiculous.
the movie's even better.
So now I have to see the movie because I did not realize until I started watching it, and I told you I was watching it, that it was a movie, and I just haven't gone back to revisit the movie yet. But yeah, that was a
with
really
an absolutely
fun show.
star-studded lineup in the movie too.
Yeah, and it's crazy because there was just like so much chaos happening, and I was like, "Wait a second, what? Wait, what? Huh?"
Yep.
So
Yes,
yeah, The Gentleman was one
one
of my top shows, and then Fallout was fantastic, especially because
much better than I expected.
Yeah, because we had discussed how poorly video games generally get translated onto screen, and that one did not disappoint like I presumed it might. So
yeah, like for me, that was right up there with The Last of Us in terms of quality game to TV adaptations.
Yeah, and it was a Prime thing, so like I expect that kind of shit to come out of HBO just because of their like they have huge budgets usually, but Prime, I mean, they did deliver the Rings of Power and stuff like that, so they have the ability to go big or go home, and I think that they did that with Fallout. So
and then True Detective Night Country was another return to form for that series. I thought that was one of their best series since the first one.
Yeah, I've only seen the first season and then this last season. And I did not realize that they were like
best ones.
Yeah, I didn't realize that they were kind of an anthology almost series where I just thought it was a continuous thing. But then when I watched it and I read more about it, I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, the first season was fantastic. This season, absolutely beautiful. So yeah, definitely go check it out if you haven't, because it's great.
Yeah, there are some like little like subtle callbacks and Easter eggs that kind of allude to them being linked, but nothing that's like definitive. Like, oh, this character is that character.
Gotcha.
And then the other one that is worth noting is Shogun, which is on Disney Plus, about feudal Japan. Another awesome show. If you can, try to watch it with the Japanese soundtrack and subtitles, but the dubbed version is also brilliant.
I always feel like you kind of lose things during the dubbed versions. Like when I was watching Squid Games, I watched the subbed version just because I didn't want to lose like that like authentic feeling, I guess, with things. It's kind of like when I watched, I think, what is it, Alice in Borderlands or something? That's another one. Yeah, that show's fantastic.
It's basically Squid Games, but
better. No, it's not better, but it's cool.
Like spread across a whole city, not in a game place.
Yeah. That's another great thing. If you haven't seen Alice in Borderlands, please go check that out too. Just,
I think there's a new season of that coming next year as well.
There's. I believe there is. Yep.
You got Squid Game in like 2 weeks, and then Alice in Borderland next year. So good time for
Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix and like I think they're both Korean TV series.
Okay.
And then the Golden Popcorn Movie of the Year, another highly contested one, but a very clear winner in this one. Coming up on top was The Substance with 42.9% of the vote. Just an absolutely batshit out there movie, especially that last act, the last like third of the movie. Just like, oh, okay, we're going in like full body horror mode now. That is insane. But up until then, it's just a great movie about like what Hollywood does to treat like in its treatment of women and like ageism, sexism. It's just a great message, but also just a fucking fucked up movie.
I'm gonna throw myself under the bus on this one. I've only seen half of The Substance.
You didn't even get to the really wacky bullshit moment.
Actually, maybe it was like a little bit more than half. I don't know. The last part that I left off on was when she went past her time with the copycat, and then she like started. She barely made it to the point where she could survive again, and she's talking to some old man in a cafe. That is literally where I have left off in that movie, and I've been real bad and haven't gone back to it. And I kicked myself in the ass because I liked it so much. I liked it so much. So now I'm just like obligated to go back and rewatch it from beginning to end because I was like, oh my God, but I had so much going on that day. And I was like, no, it's fine. I'll come back to it. And I haven't. but
Yeah.
I mean, Demi Moore was like bravo so far that I've seen her. So,
and so's Margaret Qualley. She's great.
yeah, I couldn't
as
think
the
of her
younger
name,
version.
but yep, they're both fantastic.
You've seen nothing yet. That last like
So-
third of that movie goes freaking out
Bonkers.
there.
I'm so excited though.
Let's just say there's a really messed up monster that just is really disgusting.
Oh, good. As long as it doesn't repeat that Smile 2 thing, because that was fucking weird at the end of Smile 2. Oh, great. Fantastic. Thanks for that nod to possibilities.
If you like eyeballs, be prepared.
I love eyeballs. You know, fantastic.
Like
Googly eyes.
Eyeballs with like
Bloop, bloop.
multiple retinas.
Oh, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
I'm ready for it though. Yeah, I'm excited to see the rest of that.
And then the next 4 split the vote, getting
Gee.
14.3% each. Longlegs, Kneecap, Civil War, and Deadpool and Wolverine all came in with 14.3% of the vote. And Longlegs was another one that, like, when I was putting my votes in, I was split between The Substance, Longlegs, and Civil War. I thought they were all phenomenal movies.
Yeah, I've seen all of those except for Kneecap. I don't know what that actually is. Longlegs was fantastic. I loved every minute of it. Nicolas Cage was fucking fantastic in that. Obviously The Substance is fantastic too. Civil War, oh god, that I think that hits home now with me.
Yeah, especially in America.
I was gonna say that movie I've suggested to every single person I know of that hasn't seen it to watch it, especially now, just because with the way that I personally feel things are going, it is not a far-fetched concept that could potentially eventually happen over here, which is scary to think of. So, yeah, that's another like reality kicker in the balls kind of thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then Deadpool and Wolverine's just fun, but
yeah, it's obviously not like Academy Award Best Picture winning, but it's just a great fun time.
Yeah.
And then the other nominees for the award this year were Beetlejuice, Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, which for me, criminally underrated. It was great. I think a lot of people just went, we've seen it before. Immaculate was awesome. It was the far better version of The First Omen.
That's what The Omen wanted to be.
The Zone of Interest is a incredibly heavy Holocaust movie. Definitely worth checking out if you can stomach how twisted and sad that movie is. It doesn't like show anything gruesome, but it's just about like the guy that led one of the concentration camps and everything that's happening in his life just outside the prison walls.
I was gonna say, isn't that the one where like literally they're behind their like wall is the concentration camps behind their house in the backyard?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember seeing trailers for that, and I was just like, that's gonna be a movie that like you've really got to be mentally prepared for to watch, because it's not gonna be something that's like light to see.
Oh yeah, it's heavy, it's disturbing.
Yeah.
Strange Darling also got a nod. I thought that was another fantastic movie with great twists in it. Alien Romulus made the list, as well as Late Night with the Devil.
I love Romulus. You know how I feel about that whole franchise. And then Late Night with the Devil, you and I saw when I was over there, and that was something.
I thought it was really cool. Like, it was fun. It was
good until the end.
Yeah, the ending kind of went
to shit.
What the fuck?
Yeah, but no, it wasn't bad. It was just, it's one of those fun kind of also movies. Like, I don't know, I feel like you either love those kind of movies or you hate them.
Yeah. So as we wrap up, we'll recap the things to avoid: Madame Web and The Office Australia. Just don't waste your time.
Don't do it.
If you're a crispy couch potato, grab some Disney Plus in your life. And then the two best things of the year: Presumed Innocent for TV series and The Substance for the best movie of the year. Absolutely check those out over the holiday break if you have not seen them already.
Yes.
Thank you everyone for listening to the commentary booth. If you enjoyed the show, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe on podcast services and on YouTube. Lots of awesome stuff coming in 2025. You can follow Corrina on Instagram at Miss Corrina Renee, and you can follow me on social media at Jamie Apps Media and at Pario Magazine. The Commentary Booth is a fan-funded production of Jamie Apps Media. You can support the podcast alongside our magazine, Pario Magazine, on Patreon at patreon.com/Jamie Apps Media. The following people supported at the publisher level or higher, and you cannot fathom how incredibly appreciative we are for their support.